You know, in the world of logistics, we're always talking about speed, efficiency, and hitting those delivery windows. But what if I told you the single most important moment for a perfect shipment, the one that stops a total disaster in its tracks, happens way before a single wheel starts to turn? It all goes down right at the dispatcher's desk. So today, we are unlocking that pre-dispatch checklist. So really think about it. What is that one critical moment? Is it navigating that crazy rush hour traffic? Or maybe it's that final nail-biting drop-off? No, not even close. The most crucial part of any shipment's journey happens right at the very beginning, before the engine even rumbles to life. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a pilot's pre-flight check. It is absolutely non-negotiable. This isn't just about ticking off some boxes on a form. Oh no. This is about laying a rock-solid foundation for success, making sure everything is safe and locking in every single detail. Because in this business, the setup is everything. So let's dive in and really walk through the anatomy of what a perfect setup looks like. This is the foundation for a smooth, profitable, and most importantly, a headache-free haul. If you can get this part right, trust me, you are already halfway to the finish line. We're going to break this whole thing down into four essential stages, and this comes straight from the pros playbook. First, we've got vetting the carrier, then confirming the contract. After that, it's all about briefing the driver, and finally, verifying the route. Each one of these steps is absolutely critical, and they all build on each other. All right, first up, vetting your carrier. You have to think of this as your absolute first line of defense. Before you even start thinking about the freight, you've got to know who you're trusting it with. Skipping this step, it's kind of like handing your car keys to a complete stranger and just, hoping for the best. And the very first thing you check is their Motor Carrier Authority, or MC Authority. To put it simply, this is the government's official green light. It's the license that proves a carrier is a legit business, legally allowed to haul freight. If there's no active authority, there's no deal. It is really that simple. And look, the difference here is literally night and day. Active authority means a carrier is good to go. It's also a really strong signal that their insurance is up to date. But inactive, that is a massive red flag. It means they are not legally allowed to be on the road, and if you put a load on that truck, you're taking on a huge risk for fraud, liability, and just total catastrophic failure. Okay, so once you've confirmed you are working with a legitimate, authorized carrier, the very next step is to lock everything down in writing. And this isn't about a lack of trust. It's all about making sure there's absolute clarity and protection for everybody involved in the deal. There's an old saying in this business, and you really got to take it to heart. If it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. A verbal agreement on the phone? That's totally worthless when something goes wrong. A handshake deal isn't going to protect you. The documentation, that's your single source of truth. Now, there are two documents that are completely non-negotiable. They must be signed before anything starts to move. First is the dispatcher carrier agreement that outlines your whole relationship. And second is the load confirmation. We usually just call it the load con, and that details all the specifics for this one shipment. You do not move forward without those signatures, period. Okay, so your carrier is vetted, the contracts are all signed, the paperwork is solid as a rock. Now our focus shifts. We move from the company itself to the individual, the actual person who's going to be behind the wheel. Just pause and think about this for a second. What happens when the right truck shows up at the pickup location, but it has the wrong equipment? All of a sudden, your refrigerated goods are melting on the dock, or that heavy piece of machinery can't even be loaded. The entire shipment just grinds to a halt, all because of one tiny missed detail. And this right here is why you have to pick up the phone and call the driver directly to confirm all the specifics. Do they have the 53-foot reefer for the frozen food? Do they have the RGN trailer for that big, oversized load? And hey, do they have the required PPE, that's personal protective equipment, for the job site? One quick phone call can prevent a massive and very expensive delay. And that brings us to our final check. This is the one that deals with the physical reality of the road. So you've got the right carrier, the right contract, and the right driver with all the right equipment. Now for the big question. Can they actually get there? It sounds so basic, I know. But this right here is where millions of dollars are just lost every single year. A truck gets stuck under a bridge, a delivery gets rejected because the truck can't get to the dock. These are heartbreaking, expensive mistakes, and they are completely preventable. So what's the solution? How do you avoid sending a 13.5-foot tall, 80,000-pound vehicle to a location that has a 12-foot bridge or a tiny residential street where it's impossible to turn around? The answer is actually so simple, but it is so powerful. You pull up both the pickup and the delivery addresses on Google Maps and you use Street View. You are literally virtually driving that last mile of the route. You're looking for low clearances, super sharp turns, anything that screams a big rig cannot go here. So when you boil it all down, what this all comes back to is just good old-fashioned diligence, vetting, confirming, briefing, and verifying. This tough setup process, this is what separates the true logistics professionals from the amateurs. It's not about being lucky. It's about having a system and sticking to it no matter what. So you've done it. You have executed the perfect setup. Your foundation is rock solid. But what happens when the road throws you a curveball? A blown tire, a complete traffic shutdown, a problem at the delivery dock? What happens when things just inevitably go wrong? Well, that's a story for another time.